One More I'm Out of Here podcast from the One More I'm Out of Here studio. Am I turned? I'm not hearing anything in my headset. Hello. Test. One,
I hear
two.
you.
I don't know why.
You hear me?
You? Yes, I can hear you.
I don't hear myself.
Sadly,
I can hear you in the microphone.
I know. Hold on.
Oh, it's because you didn't plug your shit in.
Now it's plugged in all the way.
Jesus H fucking Christ.
I think I was sabotaged by Pappas.
Your clock at home is blinking 12, right? Still, that happened to all the
clock
clocks?
I have at home sets itself, so that's nice.
Really, Mr. Technical.
All I got to do is plug it in, and it tells me what time it is. So that's very nice.
So
it's the One More I'm Out of Here podcast. Welcome to the show. Hot as balls outside today.
Hot as balls.
Facts.
Where did that saying come from?
I don't know, but it was.
Who was the first one? I know Kiefer says it all the time.
Somebody with.
Is that like a firefighter saying?
No,
Probably.
It's if anybody that has balls sack and they stick to your leg. That's how you know.
It probably wasn't a female. What do you think? She came out and she said, "Oh, it's hot as balls outside."
No, it's hot as labia out here. It is hot as labia.
It's gotta be a dude.
Hot as labia.
Bocce balls
or vulva, depending.
All right.
Depending on how thick you are.
So we now live in a world where Donald Trump has maneuvered Democrats once again in deciding with the world's largest state sponsor of terrorism.
Another 80-20 issue.
Look, it is to me it is as plain as day that the Democrats and the left are only upset because of who ordered the strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities.
No Dude, you are rolling this right in. That's perfect.
Well,
you're rolling it right in perfect.
It's almost like he was listening.
How are we supposed to? And look, if you saw all the hand wringing and all the complaining over the weekend, then you saw Ocasio-Cortez, you saw Jasmine Crockett, you saw Schiff, you saw Eric Swallowswell. I mean, how are we supposed Are we supposed to believe that these individuals are going to have better insight on how to deal with the nuclear program in Iran?
Yes, AOC,
better than Trump,
AOC,
better than JD Vance.
I'm sure AOC
better than Marco Rubio
behind the bar have really prepared her for the geopolitical world.
What an absolute moron! And I'm glad that when we've got some of the video right now that. Some of the people who post on social media have seen fit to find video, a lot of video, by the way, of Barack Obama.
Oh, yeah.
Talking about how he's ordered this airstrike and he's ordered that airstrike.
Oh, we got some.
These things are not new. These things happen. And the notion that I'm trying to think which numbnut it was I saw this morning. Well, there was no imminent threat from Iraq. Iraq. I mean, and
Iran, you mean?
And one of them, yeah. What Iran? One of them was a newscaster on CBS.
One letter
talking about
it was really close.
How uncalled for this was.
Mm-hmm.
So again, you've got the left, you've got the media, you've got Democrats all siding with the state sponsor of terrorism, lining up against Trump.
Yeah. Because why? Because it's Trump.
Yeah.
Because when their guy was in office and their guy was in charge, it was cool. It was okay.
Oh, it was brave.
Well, and that's why
it was courageous.
That's why I titled it "U.S. bombs Iran." Why is it okay when other presidents talk about it, but when Trump does it?
Well, I like the thumbnail, by the way. How did you get a picture of Trump behind the controls of look like the B-52?
So weird. I do want to give. I want to give some accolades to Andrew Pappas. We used one of his thumbnails today.
Pretty good,
and it was good.
I tried that. You knew that was a B-2? Did you know that was a B-2 bomber?
It looked like the inside of a B-52, not a B-2.
No, it is
it's a B-2 cockpit.
Supposed to be. That's what I told.
It's supposed to be.
Mr. AI guy.
It was on the internet. It was on the internet.
Has to be true.
My guess would be that was not the inside of a real B-2.
You know what I did though? When I did all that, I kept counting the fingers because that's like the telltale thing that they screw up. So it's like, okay, 5 fingers, just 5 fingers.
There was a movie out.
Andrew set multiple thumbnail options. I like that one, but I need him to tweak it just a little bit. Okay. We'll see if YouTube takes it down anyway.
Why?
Well, because the word "shit's" in it.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is. In the thumbnail, it is.
I thought I started out.
No, you start out, motherfucker.
Oh,
that's all right.
Sorry.
I posted it. I saw.
That's how he emails you.
I posted it anyway, so we'll see what happens. I'm curious. This is.
Come on, you two. Give me a break. I'm making my debut. This is my first outing here. Give me a break.
We had to throw Andrew a bone.
I got a bone for you.
But no, gross. That's fucking
sweaty balls.
You take it from here, Keith. Where do you want to go?
I'm gonna play this. I'm gonna play this video. We've got a couple that are gonna follow, but we'll play this one and we'll talk about it.
Clear. We will not allow Iran to acquire a nuclear weapon.
If I'm the president, we will attack Iran. Whatever stage of development they might be in their nuclear weapons program in the next 10 years, during which they might foolishly consider launching an attack on Israel, we would be able to totally obliterate them. That's a terrible thing to say, but those people who run Iran need to understand that.
Make no mistake, a nuclear-armed Iran is not a challenge that can be contained. It would threaten the elimination of Israel, the security of Gulf nations, and the stability of the global economy. It risks triggering a nuclear arms race in the region and the unraveling of the Non-Proliferation Treaty. That's why a coalition of countries is holding the Iranian government accountable. And that's why the United States will do what we must to prevent Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon.
As long as I'm president of the United States, Iran will not get a nuclear weapon. I made that clear when I came into office.
And
for God's sake,
has American blood on their hands. Okay, and what we saw in terms of just this attack on Israel, 200 ballistic missiles. What we need to do to ensure that Iran never achieves the ability to be a nuclear power, that is one of my highest priorities.
So if you have proof that.
So I have to keep that volume low because I've gotten yelled at multiple times about having echoes, so I keep that low. But you guys have watched probably every one of those interviews and knew what they were saying. Yeah. So isn't it funny? You have all these former presidents or somebody that was trying to sniff a presidency saying that they would do the exact same thing. And
Hillary Clinton was very forceful there. We would obliterate them. Obliterate.
Yeah. It's bad to say.
It's mean.
Sorry, it's bad to say.
I don't have a problem with it.
No, fucking wipe it out. Because I mean, this has been an issue for years and years. And I love what I will say about what happened this weekend is, being on social media, all weekend, being at work, just kind of scrolling through, and you look at it and they're like, oh, there's B-2s heading to Guam from Missouri. And then I saw a couple where they're like, oh, look, Flight Radar 24, the app. Look, here's where they are. You're never going to see them, you dumb fucks. So, because I have that app, right? And I love following that app. So,
are you looking?
If Jill's flying, then I'll follow her flight just to see. I'm an aviation, connoisseur, I guess. I want to get my pilot's license at some point, but I follow that. I have that app. And I'm like, I see this, and I'm like, you dumb fucks. You're never going to see a B-2 on Flight Radar 24.
Like you're seeing something.
Like you're seeing American Airlines Flight 2302.
Oh, God.
Going to Dallas.
It's so funny.
So I saw that, and I was like, you know what? There's something, something is amiss. Something's happening, but I don't know what it is. And the fact that they sent planes west and then sent planes east.
Brilliant.
It was absolutely fucking phenomenal. And I used it today. It's don't look in this hand because there's something else going on over here.
Did they say how many times they had to refuel?
I believe it was 3. The number I heard was 3.
So the round trip,
but I could be wrong.
Don't quote me. The mission time was what, 36?
36.
18
in, 18 out.
So, I mean, it raises other questions because those things are kind of small and there's not a lot of play. It's not like you can get up and use the head.
They got a bathroom.
They've
got a toilet. They've got a microwave.
They've
got a refrigerator for little snacks.
Little snacky area, little area where you can lay down and rest.
I saw
crews out.
I saw one of the.
There's only 2 of them, so you're just flip flopping.
I don't know if it was true, but I saw one of the pilots. They're making a big deal that it was a female.
Yes,
and I was a little bit taken aback. Not that she was a female, that they identified the pilot. I didn't think that was a smart move.
Yeah, did they put her name out there?
Correct. And her face. And I thought that
I didn't see that today.
I thought that was a dumb move because I would be concerned for multiple reasons. With crazies that are out there for the bad guys. I just wouldn't want that information out there. I would be happy to say it was a female pilot and take, great pleasure in that. But I would not want anyone's idea. I would feel better if they did not publish their identities.
No, I agree with that. I hadn't seen that yet, but
it was on the internet. Had to be true.
Got to be true.
Got to be true.
But no, I thought it was awesome in the fact that the way they went about it, where he was saying, all right, I'm giving them 2 weeks. And then I saw one, it was a meme that was made up. It's Trump. He was like, I don't tell my kids more than one time. But he was, he's like giving them, multiple times to come to the table. Meanwhile, all this is going on in the background, which should just show the people that fucking hate the government. They know more than we do. They do. Yeah. I don't trust government completely. Don't get me wrong. And don't misconstrue what I'm saying. But there is shit that is going on behind the scenes that we have no idea about.
Absolutely.
And this was already like strategically planned. If they don't come to the table by this day, even though I'm saying 2 weeks, if they don't come by this day, guess what? We're going to.
I think for me, the most impressive thing about this whole deal, first of all, hats off to the military for the way they coordinated everything, the way they all met up, the way the strike groups, got together and went in, because there's a lot more than just the B-2s.
Yeah.
But
you got the 5th Fleet that's in the Persian Gulf right now.
I liked the thing I found most impressive, and the difference in Trump 2.0 versus 1.0 is there was absolutely positively no leaks whatsoever about this happening, and everybody was caught off guard. And I think that shows the professionalism that is apparent and in this administration versus his first administration. And look, everyone's going to have an opinion on this, and no one here is a Middle East expert by any way, shape, or form. But guys, I mean, I know, Jason, I don't know about you, but Dan, look, I remember the Iranian hostage crisis. I mean, I remember back in the days when Iran fell, the fall of the Shah.
Remember the show? You remember the show Nightline?
That's how it got started. Ted Koppel. That's how he got
started.
Day
number 275.
Correct.
I mean,
that's when we had 3 channels. So look, I just think I would prefer to be fighting. I guess that's the wrong word. I would prefer where we're at now with a non-nuclear Iran than having to come to the table in a year or 2 or maybe 6 months, who knows, with a nuclear-powered Iran, because I don't think they would have any qualms whatsoever in using that bomb in some way, shape, or form, or holding the world hostage. And, the one thing we can all agree upon, I hope, is that whether they had or were close to having a bomb or not close to having a bomb, there is no explainable reason under the sun for them enriching the uranium to the levels that they were at. And they were at 60% from everything I read.
Yep.
And going from 0 to 10 is very hard. This is enrichment. Going from 0 to 10 is difficult, and then 10 to 20 is difficult. It gets less difficult. So as they get more concentrated, more enriched, it becomes less and less difficult and goes faster.
Exactly.
So
to go from 60 to 90, if you have the right centrifuges,
that's correct.
It could be days.
It's faster. And so, whether it was us doing it for Israel or whatever, I've heard some people say, I'll just say this. I think the world is a safer place with Iran not having a nuclear bomb. And I don't know that there's any disagreement on that. And there's no reason for them to have one.
At least not on this panel, at least. But I mean, maybe in the chats, and that could be.
Well, maybe in the chats. I don't know. But, I think the world is a safer place. And Trump made a tough decision. It could be a make or break situation. I mean, some people would be. I could see other leaders being paralyzed with fear, saying, "Oh my God, I can't do it. It's too tough of a decision. I'm scared of the fallout." Blah 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 blah. I think Trump looked at all the facts and the timeline and where they were, and the fact that they kept enriching uranium. And I think I respect him for making the decision and pulling the trigger. And I do think it was the right decision. The fallout. What did gas do? Jason, you said gas went down today. Oil went down today.
So yeah, 7.5% was the last that I saw.
Markets were up today. So if the world thought this was, if the markets thought this was a bad decision, they'd be melting down.
So it took a dip, and it was funny because I was looking at it. It took a dip like right around noon, took a dip into the red from where it started. And then right after, and we're going to get into this, but right after Iran lobbed, 6 fucking softballs over to Qatar at one of our bases, the fucking markets went right back up.
Well, I guess they realize.
Well, it's essentially an
we'll get into that part here, with what happened today, because a news cycle never fucking ends, obviously.
Of course not.
But let me play this video. Real
Okay.
Quick. Let me play this other video of other presidents.
Love it.
A nuclear Iran is a threat to our national security, and it's a threat to Israel's national security. We cannot afford to have a nuclear arms race in the most volatile region of the world. Iran's a state sponsor of terrorism, and for them to be able to provide nuclear technology to non-state actors, that's unacceptable. And they have said that they want to see Israel wiped off the map. So the offers Iran a choice. They can take the diplomatic route and end their nuclear program, or they will have to face a united world and a United States president, me, who said we're not going to take any options off the table.
So Iran broke their nuclear treaty in 2001, which timing is very, very suspect.
Well, that's Obama talking tough. But if you look at his actions belie that speech that he just made there during that debate with Mitt Romney. Because under the Obama administration, Iran was able to continue its nuclear program. They were able to reach certain enrichment levels. The deal that he cut with them would have, by all objective analysis, would have led to Iran getting its hands on a nuclear weapon, being able to produce the nuclear weapon. And then, of course, there were the pallets of cash that were sent there under the cover of darkness to appease the leadership of that country.
How much did he send to? How much did Obama send to Iran?
I believe the number you gave me was 1.6 billion with a B.
And the pictures were staggering because it was pallets of cash. It really was.
It looked like the treasury.
It was pallets of cash being.
It was a pallet load of cash with the plastic all wrapped around it. Right.
Let me ask you this question: how much, if Obama gave them $1.7 billion, how much did Biden give them?
Well, this is the question I didn't get a chance to ask you before we started the show today. Are you saying that he gave it to them in terms of just direct outlays, or in terms of letting them
both
reconstitute their oil sales?
Give them directly, and also unfreezing assets that were frozen.
Yeah, unfreezing assets, allowing them to increase their oil sales. Because under the sanctions that were put in place by the Trump administration, they were essentially able to sell enough oil to keep the lights on.
So I just want people to know, how much do you think that he gave, that Biden gave them?
Well, I have a pretty good idea what the answer is. Would you want me to say it out loud?
I do.
I do.
The number you came in with today was
10 times the amount that Obama gave them.
What, 6 or 7?
He unfroze $16 billion of fund for Iran. And what did that result in? That resulted in them thumbing their nose at the agreement, keep enriching uranium, and saying, "Oh no, we just want it for peaceful purposes." Well, there's no need for you to be enriching the uranium only for your quote unquote domestic nuclear energy policy when you don't even need it, because you've got more oil than anyone on the planet. So I think that we had to have an adult in the room finally say enough is enough. And, he says now that it's not about regime change, although I pray the people of Iran finally get rid of, these mullahs that are running their country.
That money also allowed them to ladle out money to their terrorist friends like Hamas, like the Houthis, Hezbollah, and Boko Haram. I mean,
all their proxies that have been waging war against the United States for 45 plus years.
And so that was I was talking to my expert. His name is Del Wilbur, and this is a guy who has spent more than 30 years as a security counterterrorism intelligence officer. He worked undercover for the CIA in Eastern and Western Europe and the Middle East. I mean, the guy's written books about the Middle East. I mean, he has been there. He's done that. He knows everything. And I was asking him about that, and you know, the intelligence that he continues, because he still has friends in the region that tell him things, and the way that, look, the Iranian people are not happy with what they have to deal with.
Yeah,
but these people are out of control, and he says, you know, there's absolutely no doubt in his mind, if they were able to get their hands on nukes or a nuclear weapon,
they would use. They
would not hesitate to use
it. And their missiles could deliver one to Israel.
Yeah.
They had a nuclear bomb. They could wipe Israel off the map with very little warning. So, you know, everyone's going to Monday morning quarterback this. What I find the most egregious about this is the fact that clearly the president has the authority to launch an attack. That's undisputed for the most part. But because Democrats are Democrats and just hate Trump, especially, this is now impeachable, and this is now a bad thing. You could question the decision to make the attack all day long, and I think an argument, a discussion about that per se is actually healthy, because maybe there's some ramifications that people haven't considered, and so a discussion about that would be helpful. What you cannot do is claim that this is somehow a violation of the president's authority. And he does have, if he declares that something's a clear and present danger to the United States under the War Powers Act, he can very easily call a strike.
And Jill at the pool yesterday, she literally just exactly what you said, and like cited the article. And I was like, wow, damn, girl, there you go. But all these people are saying, "Oh no, he can't do that," and you know, AOC is getting impeachment papers in line. Okay, good luck, you dumb bitch. Good luck. Fucking luck.
Let her. You know, this is, again, though. Let me point out the obvious. This is where the Democrats are. They are the wrong side. There was polling done about this after, because this happened Saturday. So there's polling Sunday all day yesterday. This is another 80-20 issue for all intents and purposes. I think it's 75-25. 75% of the American people across political lines think this was the correct thing to do. Okay? 25% don't. Where does the Democrat Party go to on this decision? Like every other decision that they're on the wrong side of, that's an 80-20 issue, transgenderism. They go to the wrong side of the issue because that's where their wacky base is. So I don't have a problem with it. I do think that the professionalism, you know, whether you like Trump or not, you have to admit the professionalism with how this administration kept this under wraps, kept it secret. The way the sleight of hand, flying the planes one way while the other planes went the other way. I think it's just amazing, and the professionalism with which the armed forces of this country carried out the attack, and it was pretty awesome to see. I mean, like you said, I'd like to also point out that I don't see what their problem is bitching about the B-2 flight, because for all intents and purposes, it was a mostly peaceful flight.
Right.
So that's a good point.
I don't know why you're.
But the thing that I like most about this operation, when you're in the military, there's two things that everyone.
Technically, it's not illegal. We've discussed that, but
there's I didn't say anything was illegal.
No, I'm reading the comments. No. Our resident dope.
For God's sake! Comments. But when you're in the military, there's two things that everyone in the military has a responsibility to concern themselves with, and that's it's called OPSEC and COMSEC. So that's operational security and communication security. And so when you look at this operation, I mean, this thing was as airtight as it could possibly be. So there were no leaks at all.
No.
So all the important factors of operational security were obviously adhered to. And when it comes to communication security, those protocols were adhered to as well. So a huge congratulations to everyone involved in this operation. And I think the proof of that is the way, again, the AOCs, the Jasmine Crockett's, the Swallowwells,
and we're going to show
the way these people have their panties in a twist over this, because they didn't know.
And
they didn't know.
Swallow has some giant nads bitching about anything when he was literally sleeping with a Chinese spy. I mean, why does anyone pay attention to what that guy says? Give me a break.
They give him the time of day. I have no idea.
I mean, give me an absolute break. That guy is completely and utterly, somebody that should be scorned. I'm not going to hold that guy up as some sort of the one that pisses me off more than anybody else is what's his face? Schiff. He really pisses me off.
Funny that you say that. Yeah. I've had a video queued up for the last fucking 4 minutes.
Let's see it.
4 minutes.
Well, you two fucking Muppets keep talking.
Are we the two old men?
First of all, Casey, I want to express my gratitude that the pilots are all out safely and acknowledge the skill, the bravery, and the professionalism of all the military forces that were engaged in this military operation. But it's not an operation that should have never been authorized by the president in the absence of intelligence showing that Iran had made the decision to break out and build a bomb.
I can handle it just fine. 513, you're just an idiot.
Indicates that Iran had certainly enriched uranium, but had not made the decision to build a bomb or pursue the mechanism of a bomb. And in the absence of that, this is not a strike that should have been ordered. In watching Hegseth during that press conference this morning, we saw a lot of arrogance from the defense secretary. And as wars in the Middle East have demonstrated, arrogance is a deadly commodity. We simply don't know what is going to occur now, whether Iran will retaliate, whether Iran was able to evacuate some of the enriched material from Fordo. There were commercial satellite images of trucks lined up at Fordo and leaving Fordo in the days preceding the strike. So a lot of questions, including the risk to American service members. In terms of, is there anything positive to come out of it? Yes, I mean, the destruction of these facilities is a positive in the sense that it will set back Iran's program. And look, this is a nefarious regime that is the preeminent state sponsor of terror. It should have never been pursuing a nuclear program. But it is very possible, and I think we have to anticipate, Iran now kicks out any inspectors. It leaves the non-proliferation treaty. And if it wasn't in a sprint for a bomb, it is now going to engage in a sprint for the bomb. So a lot of uncertainty. Finally, this was not constitutional. Was not
that's actually incorrect. It's been discussed and put to bed.
The administration should come to Congress. We will have a vote on a War Powers resolution.
The War Powers Act says he has 48 hours to go to Congress.
Congress bought in. We want the American people bought in on an action this substantial that could lead to a major outbreak of war.
It's funny listening to that guy. I mean,
he's a douche.
Like I said, you can have a discussion, especially 513, because he's made some comments in the chats. You can have a conversation all day long. I entertain it. Was this the right thing to do? What you can have is that, oh, this is unconstitutional and he should be impeached because of it. If that's true, I need to see where every other president that has had strikes against rebels, the Houthis, whatever.
We've been bombing the Houthis since 2004?
I'd like to see your posts and your comments from them saying that was unconstitutional and that president should have been impeached. And then you can compare them to my posts of the same time. If I did say the same thing, if I said, oh, you'd have an argument that you could say, well, Pappas isn't, or we're not being consistent. If back then when Biden did something, I would say, oh my God, he should be impeached. Those words never left my mouth. So there is one person here that is not being consistent, and that's the Democrat Party, because you have to be consistent with your logic. And the president does have the authority. Now, if you want to address that, you can go back and change the War Powers Act. I believe it was, what was that? That was after Vietnam. Was that 73 they made the War Powers? 78? Somewhere in there.
Wasn't even born.
But thanks. Suddenly feel really old.
Suddenly.
But
I see you walk.
But, that's the way Congress can get their authority back. But you're going to
I think that's what Schiff was saying at the end is, we're going to make a vote on the War Powers Act.
He mentioned that at the end, but I mean, he was like, it seemed to me like he was trying to be on both sides of the issue, because he was like, oh, well, some good things did come out of it.
It sets him back. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's kind of be on both sides of the issue. And if that guy, is actually trying to be moderately bipartisan on the issue, or at least try to see the positives of it, then that it probably was a popular decision or the right thing to do, because that guy is a complete and utter fool. So Adam Schiff, I mean, remember the dossier and the impeachment of Trump the first time because he believed a fake dossier that was created by Hillary Clinton, but I suppose that's false information too.
Well, the only thing I would like to respond to Schiff on is this notion that they moved out all their, I guess, their fissionable or nuclear material in trucks days before. Listen, if that was going on, you don't think we've got satellites 24/7
trained on that place,
watching them? I don't know what satellite capability that Israel has. But whatever, and Israel obviously has great intelligence on the ground and boots on the ground when it comes to that sort of thing. So if they were engaged in moving, whatever important material was there out of that facility, Israel and the United States knows damn well where every bit of that is, where it went, who has it, and if they need to be blowed up, they're going to get blowed up.
Blowed up.
So Adam Schiff again exposes himself for the lightweight and a clown that he really is.
I would have loved just to be funny if Trump would have just moved in trebuchets and just started just lobbing fireballs as right before that fucking bunker buster hit.
Speaking of fireballs,
one of the bunker busters.
I think we have video, and I was really impressed because we've heard a lot. Everybody now, how many different shows have you seen where they're describing the way the missile, how much it weighs, and how deep it can burrow in? I think we have video of the actual explosion. This is off the internet, but it's pretty cool, and it's something to see. So I think you should probably watch this for a second if you haven't seen it. No, reviews are not always consistent. You're not very smart.
I'll let it play a couple times. I have not fact checked this to know that it's still pretty fucking cool.
No, I mean
and to me it makes sense. Look at
it looks like a big
size
with a bomb that weighs 30,000 pounds.
Yeah.
Each B2 dropped 2 of them, and there were 7 B2s that were on that mission. So there's 14 of them motherfuckers that got fucking dropped in different.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, a couple different fucking places, but yeah. I believe that explosion would come from a 30,000-pound bomb.
Well, and the other thing is that bomb is designed to explode like 200 feet underground. Mm-hmm. So I can only imagine what happened underground. I mean, I don't know. I mean, time will tell. I do think it was the right thing to do, and I think I would want nothing. This could end so well if Iran would give up its nuclear ambitions, and there could be investment there, and the mullahs were out of power, and boy, think of how the Middle East would really shake up if that happened. The funding for all the terrorist organizations around the world, especially in that region, would dry up because they're paying. I think they're sending $100 million a year. Iran is sending $100 million a year. I believe I heard that figure to Hamas. So for terror, not for baby formula,
not humanitarian aid.
Yeah, right. So I just think I just think that something had to be done, and Trump, a leader leads. Unlike what we're seeing in the city of Cincinnati, a leader leads, and Trump is definitely being a leader in this instance. And if you want to talk about, whether it was the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do, then come up with another solution other than, well, we shouldn't have just done it. We could have done X, Y, or Z. Tell me what X, Y, and Z is, and let's discuss it.
Well, that's what Obama did for his whole fucking presidency.
Right.
I've got a good video that Dano sent me from Face the Nation with Rubio.
Saying there that the United States did not see intelligence that the Supreme Leader had ordered weaponization.
That's irrelevant. I think that question being asked in the media, that's an irrelevant question.
That is the key point in U.S. intelligence assessment. You know that.
No, it's not.
Yes, it was.
No, it's not.
The political decision had not been made.
I know that better than you know that, and I know that that's not the case.
But I'm asking you whether the order was given.
And the people who say that, It doesn't matter if the order was given. They have everything they need to build nuclear weapons. Why would you bury things in a mountain, 300 feet under the ground?
Right.
Why would you bury why do they have 60% enriched uranium? You don't need 60% enriched uranium. The only countries in the world that have uranium at 60% are countries that have nuclear weapons, because they can just quickly make it 90. They have all the elements. Why do they have a space program? Is Iran going to go to the moon? No, they're trying to build an ICBM.
No,
Maybe they want to go to the moon.
That's a question of intent, and you know in the intelligence assessment that it was that Iran wanted to be a threshold state and use this leverage. I'm talking about the public March assessment, and that's why I was asking you if you know something more from March.
But that's also an inaccurate representation of it. That's an accurate representation of it. That's not how intelligence is read. That's not how intelligence is used. Here's what the whole world knows. Forget about intelligence. What the IAEA knows. They are enriching uranium well beyond anything you need for a civil nuclear program.
Correct.
So why would you enrich uranium at 60%?
That's what Cincy
if
said
you don't
earlier.
intend to one day use it to take it to 90 and build a weapon?
Right.
Why are you developing ICBMs? Why do you have 8,000 short-range missiles and 2,000 to 3,000 long mid-range missiles that you continue to develop? Why do you do all these things? They have everything they need for a nuclear weapon. They have the delivery mechanisms. They have the enrichment capability. They have the highly enriched uranium that is stored. That's all we need to see.
Right. Well, and
especially in the hands of a regime that's already involved in terrorism and proxies and all kinds of things. They are the source of all this
and no one's
disputing.
No one's disputing that. I'm not doing that here. And they were censured at the IAEA for that enrichment and for violating their non-proliferation agreements. I was simply asking if we had intelligence that there was an order to weaponize, because you said weaponization ambitions.
Well, we have intelligence that they have everything they need to build a nuclear weapon, and that's more than enough.
Okay.
That's more than enough, and I completely agree.
She made a huge mistake trying to speaking. But you cannot up Marco Rubio.
No,
you just can't do it.
Aren't you impressed?
Did the Supreme Leader give the order to weaponize that? Because if he didn't, well, then you did a bad thing. I mean, listen, here again is a leftist, a Trump-hating
media type.
Yeah. That is again siding with Iran on this. Well, the Supreme Leader didn't give. Did the Supreme Leader call you and tell you whether or not he gave that order?
Well, she's a woman.
Whether or not to weaponize. And Marco Rubio is not going to get caught off guard by that. No. He's saying, look, they've got all this stuff. And I think another great point that he makes when people want to complain that, well, this is for their civilian nuclear power program. Okay, if that's true, then why does this need to be built into the side of a mountain? Why does this need to be 300 meters underground?
Yeah, it's cooler.
Why do you need to have these facilities in an area that is almost impervious to almost any sort of airstrike, of course, except for the weapons
they're dropping
that the United States.
They're dropping their carbon footprint, not using AC. They just go.
Yeah,
they go in the rocks.
Have you ever been over there? It's hot as balls.
Is it worse than Houston?
I don't know.
Not.
It's like Houston outside here right now.
So obviously the news cycle, like I set this show up earlier, talking about
Marco Rubio's
the stuff that happened Saturday.
He's doing very well as Secretary of State.
I like him a lot.
No, he's very good.
Very good.
But obviously, since I set the show up and just within the last couple hours,
things changed.
Things have evolved and changed. And Iran fucking lobbed 6 softballs over to Qatar. Qatar closed their airspace down for all commercial flights because missiles are flying through. And our air base over there said, all right, fuck off, and hit them all in the air. Nothing hit the ground. And I think this is just their little taste test, their appetizer of a retaliation, just to see.
Do you know that Iran gave us a heads up?
Right.
Do you know that?
Yeah.
So Iran did give us a heads up, and they said, hey, listen, to save face, we have to do something. So we're launching these missiles into wherever. And like you said, almost all of them were intercepted except for one that was going nowhere, and they let that hit.
So I got 2 of Trump's Truth Socials that he put out that I think it says, what do you call it, set it free in one of them. But, this one for the audio listener says, I'd like to thank the highly respected Emir of Qatar for all that he has done in seeking peace for the region. Regarding the attack today at the American base in Qatar, I am pleased to report that in addition to no Americans being killed or wounded, very importantly, there have also been no Qataris killed or wounded. Thank you for. I love how he ends it. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
That's awesome.
So I got another one behind it. I just got to pull this one up, and it might say it in this one. I can't remember. I pulled up like 4 of them. The other one for the audio. Iran has officially responded to our obliteration of their nuclear facilities with a very weak response, which we expected and have very effectively countered. There have been 14 missiles fired, 13 were knocked down, and 1 was, in quotes, set free because it was headed to a non-threatening direction. I'm pleased to report that no Americans were harmed and hardly any damage was done. Most importantly, they have gotten it all out of their system, and there will hopefully be no further hate, in all caps. I want to thank Iran for giving us early notice, which made it possible for no lives to be lost and nobody to be injured. Perhaps Iran can now proceed to peace and harmony in the region. And I will enthusiastically encourage Israel to do the same.
See, this is how Trump rolls, man.
Thank you for your attention
Once again,
in this matter.
He is a man of peace. He's a man of business, and peace is good for business. And that is what Trump wants. And look, it's time to stop screwing around. We've taken out your nuclear program. You have no cards to play. So and this whole notion that they're going to blockade the Strait of Hormuz.
That's not going to happen.
Is ridiculous.
You know why it's not going to happen?
Because if they try to put a naval blockade out there, we can sink their ships.
Besides that,
they're
inside of 10 minutes.
Do you know who gets
their navy is a rubber ducky cars?
Do you know who gets? Well, it's only 2 miles wide, so all you need is a couple of missiles on the shore. But
China gets their oil.
Their oil from Iran.
Yeah, and China needs oil.
They need
a lot of it.
We only receive 7%.
I understand, but 20% of the world's market of oil comes through the Strait.
I just think it's amusing.
China gets most of their oil from Iran. So China will not allow that to happen because China cannot exist without oil.
Exactly.
So is it concerning? Yes. Is it something that I hope was considered before the attack was, given the green light? Probably. I hope it was, because there's a lot of smart people in the room. But again, something had to be done. And I don't hear anybody on the left talking about what they would have rather had done. What would you prefer? More sanctions? I mean, what would you want us to do to finally say it's been 45 years of Iran in one way or the other, killing Americans, attacking America, attacking Israel, funding attacks against Israel by their proxies and us. When do you want to say enough is enough? Dan, what say you?
Well, I would like to read to you a post from Scott Jennings of CNN, he's a former Congress member.
Well, that's a dumb comment. No, you can't haul oil over a tanker. Holds a lot more oil than it. That could be the dumbest comment he's ever said.
What he said?
Can't you get it delivered over land? Yeah. Could you imagine the number? How many trucks do you think it takes to fill up one super tanker?
That
was a dumb question. That was a dumb comment.
The longest train you've ever seen.
That is just a dumb comment, a fundamentally stupid comment.
But Scott Jennings offered this up on X during the course of while this show was going on. And Scott Jennings put this out. Iran's weak, flaccid response to President Trump's strike on its nuclear facilities proves one thing. They know Trump isn't bluffing, and they do not want to fuck around and find out. He puts FAFO.
Is that what FAFO means?
I
was so confused.
He did not want to FAFO.
This was capitulation and total vindication for the president. And Scott Jennings is fantastic. Yeah, if there's one reason to watch CNN, it's because Scott Jennings. I mean, that guy is putting something out that is clip worthy, meme worthy. I don't know what the right term is, but you put the highlight videos out. I mean, every day this guy is saying something and just crushing all the libtards that sit with him around that table, and it's so much fun to watch. This guy is fantastic.
I hope, like I said, time will tell. I hope that the Iranian people rise up. And I saw his comment. I mean, I'm sorry, your comment was stupid. Can't you just? I'm pointing out that his comment was stupid, and he's getting offended. No, you're just an idiot. I mean, you don't know. You make a stupid comment, I'm going to call you out on it. I mean, Yeah, I mean, a super tanker holds a whole lot of oil, and it's probably the most efficient way to move oil. But no, you know better.
You should see what happens before we go live.
Can't you just truck it? I mean, a really big truck. An idiot. God. Fundamentally dumb, and you're making comments on, you're calling Trump dumb. It's kind of funny here, but I forgot what I was talking about. Now you got me distracted. I hope that people rise up. Hope that people. I don't know what that looks like.
Well, hey, people are rising up, Andrew, and Dan sent me this. People are rising up, and I find it amusing.
Is this the?
Just let that stay. Let that sink in. And who was that? Janine at Maga
takes years to build a pipeline. Stupid.
Jilly
Billy said that. I'm sorry.
I was just scrolling through Facebook just a minute ago, and
I stand with Iran.
What is your response to Americans to say I stand with Iran? I say go. I say move.
Wait. Are those are they changing their little? What are the things called? Your avatars, the little Facebook pictures. Remember when I stand with Ukraine? So where is all the Iranian? Did 513 change his little avatar picture thing?
I'm wondering if it flipped. I'm wondering if it flipped to where now that's what it's going to be for the next greatest thing to jump onto.
If you turn it sideways, it looks like the Italian flag. Maybe you can just do it like that.
Well, I love Italian food.
I love Italian food. But hey, listen. Like I said, adults have to make decisions, and leaders lead. And sometimes you make the right decisions, and sometimes you make the wrong decisions. Sadly, we've gotten a bunch of politicians as of late that don't like to make any decisions. And I think that's why the world's in the place that it is. Everyone wants to, you're so afraid of you're ruling by polling data, or you sit there and you sit there and put your finger to the wind before you make any decision. That's no way to run a country. It's no way to run a business. It's really no way to run your life. But I salute the fact that he made, and someone made a comment on there that said, "Oh, everything Trump does is good." I will bring up something we just briefly touched on. Look, Trump makes mistakes, and Trump right now is attacking somebody that I like. I don't agree with everything he says, but I wish I'd have pulled that up. I do like the fact that, Thomas Massie is an independent thinker. He is very fiscally sound. He's very concerned. And, Thomas Massie, if you ever met him, he walks the walk. Do you know that he got a wrecked Tesla, ripped the guts out of it, and his house is totally off the grid.
Yeah.
It's all solar, and the Tesla computer, like the interface for the Tesla, is what he uses to manage his electricity usage in his house.
How about that?
The guy is uber smart.
Yeah,
and
no doubt.
I don't like the fact now that Trump is pushing to primary him, and just because he was against, he pushed back on Trump on a couple of issues. The big beautiful bill was one. I don't think he was critical of this attack. I think he's wrong, but you know what? We can be on the same side of. Like Dan, Jason, we might disagree on something. That doesn't mean all of a sudden that we're enemies, right? I mean, and I don't want Trump. I don't like the fact that Trump's going down the road on that, and I'm going to say that out here publicly. So, once again, 513. I guess.
I think when it comes to Trump, when someone says something,
railway. Oh, okay. He meant train. How many trains does it take to fill up an oil tanker? I'll wait for you to get back to me on that. But dear AI,
no. When it comes to Massie, I agree. I appreciate the fact that he's an independent thinker, and I think he's good for the Republican Party. I think it's a guy like that can go a long way into keeping things in check. Him and Rand Paul are sort of cut from the same cloth.
Mm-hmm.
So I appreciate that. But when it comes to Trump responding to some of the things he says. I think this is one of the flaws that Trump has. He'll respond probably not having the full context of what he said, but I don't think that these responses to people like Massie are not front burner issues for him. He'll go out, he'll say what he says, and then it's not top of mind.
Like a kid. It's like a kid on the playground.
He's on to worrying about other things.
I don't like that guy. I'm going to beat him up after school. He's like, okay, I'll see you after school then. But I got other shit. I got a class to get to.
Can I relate some breaking news that's happened during the course of the show?
Sure.
Please do it.
Supreme Court lifts limits on Trump deporting migrants to countries not their own.
Oh.
The Supreme Court cleared the way today for President Trump, the administration, to resume deporting migrants to countries other than their own without offering them a chance to show the harms that they could face, handing him another victory in his aggressive pursuit of mass deportations. So there you go. Deportations will now resume at full speed. Thank you very much, Supreme Court.
Oh, wow.
Oh, fuck. I can already.
Isn't that amazing?
I can see liberal heads spinning. It was 6-3, right?
I can already see.
Yeah.
Let's guess the 3.
Even though it's hot as balls, I can see the liberal tears already outside the window. Right out here. Jesus Christ.
The ramifications of the Supreme Court's order will be horrifying, said Trina Ramulto, executive director of the National Immigration Litigation Alliance, which is helping represent the plaintiffs. The decision strips away critical due process protections that are protecting our class members from torture and death. Well, how much torture and death have many of your clients visited upon American citizens? I think that number is unacceptably high. And look, these people, the Trump administration has offered people that if you want to get out of the country, if you're here illegally, there's a way for you to leave the country. You fess up
and come back.
You own it. And they even put a little cash in your pocket. You go out of the country, you leave, you go away with the opportunity to come back in a legal fashion at a later date.
Right.
So far, a little more than just 1 million people have taken advantage of this program. What does that tell you? That tells you the vast majority of those who are here illegally are looking to do what? They're trying to duck the system. They're trying to stay undercover. They're trying to not get caught. They're trying to continue whatever grift they have going on. So when you've got people like Tom Homan and everyone else, rounding up these illegals, these are not good people. If you're a good person and you're forthright, you want to be here for a better life, and you came in under circumstances that made you come in the country illegally, then own it. Own it. Fess up, out of the country. You get a chance to come back at a later date. I don't see a problem with that. That was actually the policy of Hillary Clinton. And her policy was even harder because she said you also have to pay a fine, for all the taxes that you didn't pay, for all the money that you're in, all the government largesse that you sucked up. And you're going to have to, reimburse us for that before.
But the thing is,
you can come back in.
And I understand what you're saying. It is so expensive to come in, and then
sure it is.
And then when you fix fines on top of it, some of these people will never be able to make it back. Which is, but that's their issue.
Well,
it's their issue, not ours.
I think when you talk about immigration reform, we have to the first thing you got to do is stop the bleeding. We're pretty much almost all the way there. Then you got to get rid of the people who are here that don't belong here. Then you can have a serious discussion about immigration reform. And I the one thing that I do agree with about what you just said is that I think those policies need to be streamlined and reformed in such a way that process can be become a lot easier and a lot less expensive for people who want to come in the country the right way.
And our buddy Deadleg just posted this. His mother-in-law is from China. They're going through it the correct way. And he goes, I personally know how expensive it is to go through the process.
It's very expensive.
Either we have a policy or we don't, period.
Right.
So he's literally living it, but he's in agreement.
Yeah.
Do it the right fucking way. And if you can't do it, then guess what? You don't get to come here. Sorry. It's unfortunate, but the world has been lived with the haves and the have-nots, and as shitty as it is, yes, we would like to welcome you in here, but you have to go through the certain steps. And if you get flagged or you get fined, if you go back and come back through but you don't have the money to do it, there are certain things. I mean, all of this everything we do takes money.
Well, but and Trump, thank God, is finally dealing with it or trying to deal with it in a meaningful way. The process isn't perfect. It's not pretty. It's not something that you want to write home about. but when it has to be done. If we had Kamala Harris or Joe Biden serving another term, we wouldn't be any farther down the road than we were before what Trump started. We'd be in a hell of a lot worse. How many more millions would be streaming across the border every single day?
Do you find it funny that the one thing I've also heard the leftists, or at least some people that didn't agree with the military strike that Trump took, now their big concern is what? Sleeper cells in the United States doing terror.
Oh no! Now they're concerned about that.
Yeah.
So
really,
all of a sudden,
how did that happen?
I've seen that over and over again. And
as Joe would say, it's a mystery.
Yet they don't place blame where blame is clearly due. Is that their guy, their savior, thought that was okay. I mean, they are genuinely concerned that there are. I don't know the number because no one knows how many are in here, but there's could be thousands of people with malintent here. Ready to be awakened, activated to cause terror in the United States. And, someone else pointed this out, we saw what the Ukrainians did with, I don't know how many drones it was, but it's probably less than 50 or maybe 50 or so. I really don't know. If somebody knows, please correct me, but they snuck, 50 drones in near a Russian military airbase, and look what they did, right? They caused a lot of damage. We remember that. Could you imagine? And I'm sure that the freedoms in Russia are not what they are here per se. So could you imagine what could be done if somebody with drones near U.S. air bases or something like that, or God forbid near wherever, trying to do acts of terror? I mean, yeah, I'm concerned. That would be a concern. That's why they're sleeper cells. They're brought in here to do harm. So, yeah, I'm concerned that this might spawn some sort of payback in that fashion. But that's due to one person and one person only, and that's Joe Biden and the Democrat Party, that somehow thought they needed legislation to close the border, where Donald Trump showed on day one that wasn't the case. You just needed a leader with some cojones to actually close the border the way it was closed under him, and then opened under Joe Biden. So that falls on one party only. And it's not necessarily just a party issue, but in this case, it clearly is that the left wanted open borders. And now we're going to reap the seeds of that here with, and the Supreme Court rightly said that he has the authority to deport them. But, besides the illegals, there's a lot of people here that we don't know anything about that are pretty bad people that want to do bad to the United States. And I hope that the FBI through their and ICE through their efforts can find and capture these people.
All right, we're gonna hear a word from our sponsor, and then when we come back, we're
this
gonna
sponsor
show
right
you,
here. This one right here.
We're gonna show you why yours truly never wants to get on a hot air balloon.
Oh,
Between that and then I gotta pull that up. Also, I have another video that right after that.
Oh, another video.
I do.
It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be great.
Hi, everyone. Dan Carroll here. Time to tell you about a great new sponsor for the One More and I'm Out of Here podcast. It's Murphy Engraving. Murphy Engraving is the place to go for your business, industrial, and personal engraving needs. Take a look at the Murphy Engraving page on Facebook, and you're going to see all kinds of unique items that really seem to take on a life of their own because they've been customized with an image, a name, or a logo, and all of it just really beautifully done. The acrylic sports awards that light up are especially creative and very cool. The customized bottles of bourbon, those are my personal favorite. And wait till you see what they can do with items that are made out of wood. The next time you want to recognize someone special or you're looking for that one-of-a-kind gift, you'll be glad you checked out Murphy Engraving. And a bonus, you're supporting a local family-owned business run by brothers Brian and Kevin, who is a lifetime firefighter and Air Force vet. At Murphy Engraving, they turn the ordinary into the extraordinary, and at Murphy Engraving, we are American-made.
We love Kevin Murphy.
Yep, and I'm using it right now. And someone asked what am I
Very
drinking?
nice.
I am drinking Arnold Palmer, and it's still icy cold because of my wonderfully engraved koozie that says Pappas on the back. Listen, I see in the comments that we've lost 513. He's not commenting as much, and I really have to apologize. 513. I did not mean to call you stupid. That was something that just came out. So I apologize for calling one of our very dear, loyal commenters stir shit.
Yeah. You like to go low on occasion.
Yes, it was. It was more that your comment was so imbecilic that I had no choice but to consider it stupid. So forgive me. I'm going to work on it. And
we're actually one more and I'm out of here.
Sounds like a very sincere apology.
It is
the one more and I'm out of here. LLC is actually going to pay for counseling for Pappas.
Thank you.
We're going.
Thank you.
He's going to go at least. He's going to go at least for 10 minutes.
Can I do it?
Get your mind right.
Can I do it by Zoom?
Maybe a little re-education.
10 minutes a year is what you're relegated to.
We have some DEI training for Pappas.
I mean, I'm sorry. I really am.
What would you do if you ever go to a DEI training session? What?
Oh, Jesus.
Could you see me at a DEI training session? Like, what the fuck? I mean, seriously, could you see me at something like that?
God.
Here you go, Dano.
All right. So saw this video right before the show started, and we've seen similar videos like this.
I want to give a warning. If you're queasy, please don't watch the video.
Yeah, but this happened in Brazil.
For the audio listeners, it's going to be a hot air balloon.
Oh, I'm sorry.
This was one of those, and they say there was 21 people on board.
It was a huge basket. Huge basket.
And roll the video on your left there. It looks like does this mishap actually start on the ground, because they're not very far off the ground there.
Should have jumped in.
And look at all the smoke that's kind of following them up. But now you can see that basket is clearly on fire, and the people on board, there's nowhere to go. And so what's the choice there? You jump. Look at that.
I actually don't want to play any more of that.
You
That's
jump.
Just horrible.
I mean, only because when I saw it, it made me queasy. But I think YouTube's probably going to fucking take us off.
They'll probably take us off.
And then
you might not see this.
As the video rolls on, you see more people jumping out, and then the thing comes streaming to the ground at terminal velocity, and that's not good for anyone.
It's 9.8 meters per second per second.
So you will never catch me in a hot air balloon. When I back in the day when I was in the helicopter for Fox 19, there was a hot air balloon festival that came to town.
Do they still do the one down at Coney Island?
No, because Coney Island's closed.
Balloon Fest, but I mean,
what do they call that? Glow or something like that? The balloon glow.
Don't they do that?
They don't actually fly. They just inflate the balloons, and you can, then they light up when you got the gas burners.
Maybe it was at Coney, but Coney's now closed, and they're draining
for several years.
Well, you can thank the symphony. Coney's closed, and not to get too
they're
political.
digging up the lake now.
They're draining Lake Cuomo.
It's been drained, and there's giant excavators in there.
So you can thank. I am a hot air balloon. That's funny. That is funny.
That is funny.
I'm sorry for
nice one, 5-1. I'm giving 513 some props on that.
Could be like the funniest thing he said ever.
That was actually a good rebuttal right there.
Not really, because I was trying to be sincere and apologize for calling you. I think I said fucking stupid.
Take a joke, Pappas.
I just wanted to make sure that he heard me apologize for calling him.
But back in the day when I was in a helicopter for Fox 19, there was some hot air balloon event that was in town. And so our reporter,
would you stop touching that fucking stand?
Who?
You.
Our morning reporter went out there to be part of the and do a report on the hot air balloon event that was in Cincinnati. So he gets in a hot air balloon, and I guess I think the pilot was in there with him, but somehow, I mean, this thing was supposed to stay tethered to the ground. He was only going to go up, maybe 100 feet and then report from up there. Well, the tether got loose, and away they went.
Did they end up in Kansas?
And it's like Wizard of Oz.
And I spent the rest of that show. We're following them around in the helicopter because they apparently they didn't have enough gas in there and they were adrift. They had.
Did you get close? Get the rotor wash to push them a certain way?
No, we didn't do that, but that's when I thought to myself, "There's no way I'm ever getting."
So that's why this video.
I mean, it ended well. It ended well, but it could have very easily been a very tragic thing. And since then, I mean, I've seen how many times have we seen? They get caught in a high power line. They come down in a tree. They catch on fire. I mean, this is not the first time we've seen a hot air balloon come rocketing down.
You're anti hot air balloon, right?
If you want to fly in hot air balloons, by all means, knock yourself out. I'm just not getting in one.
How do you feel about blimps? Because I
would go in a blimp.
I have been in the Goodyear.
I would go in the Goodyear.
I've
blimp.
gone in the Goodyear blimp.
Yeah, the Hindenburg kind of thing.
And it was
threw that away.
It was pretty cool.
I toured the Goodyear blimp when it was on the ground. We did not go up.
No, I went in it,
but I met the pilots. And
pretty cool. Doesn't go anywhere fast.
Yeah, no, it doesn't go fast, but it's very cool.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. So I've been in it. I just not flown in it. But we toured it while it was on the ground.
I saw a blimp once in an easy-go golf cart. Did I tell you about that story?
No, Jason's got another video. I want to see it.
I got one more video, and then we got to figure out our schedules this week. This week's gonna be kind of fucked.
And the golf cart was like really weighted down.
And Wednesday is really going to be the only day for me.
It's very blimpish.
It'll have to be a late Wednesday night.
I've got a fundraiser.
That might work.
I've got a spaghetti dinner Sunday night.
I'm gonna get mandated.
Well, yeah, you're only going to be there for 15 minutes.
It's for Lexi Lawson, our 8-town
You
trustee.
only show up to social atmospheres for fucking 15, 20 minutes max.
I don't like people.
Has she asked you to speak?
8 o'clock.
Deep thoughts.
8 o'clock Wednesday.
All right.
8 o'clock.
You and
I
I
can't
are
be
going,
here Wednesday.
You and I are going 8
Why
o'clock
not?
Wednesday.
Because I've got to support Lexi Lawson for trustee here in Anderson Township.
Well, yeah,
Anderson great.
You are literally going to be
do
there
what
for
you normally
20 minutes.
do. Show up for 15 minutes and then leave.
But there's food. There's spaghetti.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I'm kind of like pasta.
Oh,
Maybe you
for
couldn't
God's
tell.
sake.
I'm getting ready to meet
carb loading.
It's almost like fucking hurricane. I'm getting ready to have to fucking meet his mic.
I'm just telling you, I'm carb loading.
All right, cool. All right, 8 o'clock, Dan, Wednesday.
All right.
Maybe.
Is putting
Carb loaded.
Robert E. Lee name back on buildings? I mean, are you down with that?
So when I was at West Point, I actually lived in Robert E. Lee Barracks when I was there. And as I said,
Robert E. Lee went to West Point.
Yes, he did. That's why the barracks is named after him. My brother, sister, and I are matriculated through West Point. We all graduated. And I'll never forget walking under the threshold of Robert E. Lee Barracks and think to myself, damn, this is one hell of a country. Because only in America can someone like me walk into a building named after a Confederate general and then be a successful West Point graduate. If we start changing the names on buildings, then every single building would be named Jesus Christ based on perfection. I bring that up because I want to talk about the progress and the idea of us changing names on buildings actually doesn't harken us back to times where they weren't as good. And how could we not? Oh, I am, my wife is, I've been black my whole life. So
know where he's from, right?
My wife is white, and we have 3 biracial.
You guys know where he's from?
And I cannot wait to show them and taking the places that wasn't always the case. There was a time when your mother and daddy could not be married. My children are going to have the opportunity to be second lining down in New Orleans, and then my wife is from Iowa. They'll be on the farm with their grandfather in Iowa. That is America. And I do not want to take down these statues and change the names of these buildings to be a reminder of what was. And if we don't remember it, we are doomed to repeat it.
That guy's awesome. His name is Wesley what?
Wesley Hunt.
Yeah,
Wesley Hunt.
Yeah, he's awesome.
And he's from Houston.
Fantastic.
He represents Houston, Texas.
Yes.
And my brother knows him well.
And as well, we need to get him on.
He is a very good guy. Sharp.
I've seen a bunch of his videos. I saw that it tugged me. I was like, you know what? I'm going to play it because I think it's fucking right. I think that's what we need to be looking at right now.
Oh yeah,
especially with everything that's going on.
No, he's a sharp dude, and he has a beautiful family, and he's been very successful, and he nails it right on the head.
He's fantastic.
Absolutely.
So maybe Wednesday.
Well, we're definitely going Wednesday. If you show up,
see what time this thing is.
It starts at 7. I already know.
How do you know that? Oh, because it's at 3:18. Oh,
yeah, I know things, Andrew. Hey, we want to thank Murphy Engraving. We want to thank all you guys. Remember, subscribe, download, hit the audios, please. Download the audios. Even if you just hit automatic download, that helps us. Tell one person to subscribe. We're slowly growing, which is good. It's actually fantastic.
Keep it coming. Come on.
See the analytics kind of going in a positive direction. But we appreciate everybody, and everybody be safe, be vigilant, keep your head on a swivel. Yeah, we don't know what's going to happen.
Watch out for them sleeper cells.
Watch out for the sleeper cells.
Sleepy.
But we appreciate you guys, and we'll see you here 8 o'clock Eastern Wednesday.